Well, they got the Theresa May smoke and mirrors out again, it seems. Let's begin. The article says that Rishi Sunak last night declared his new Brexit deal takes back control as Brussels finally climbed down on Northern Ireland. EU red tape hampered meat, sarnies, parcels, even sweet potatoes from being exported from mainland Britain and have been abolished in a major win for the UK. But unionists and hardline Tory Brexiteers were last night poring over the small print before passing judgment. Mr Sunak, though, claims his new accord freed the province of 1,700 pages of Brussels diktats and gives Northern Ireland Assembly a veto over future EU laws. Goods will freely flow into the province from mainland unrestricted, with Northern Ireland brought back under Westminster's tax and VAT regime. The PM, of course, insisted that less than 3% of EU law now applied and only targeted any goods and products for sale within the EU single market via the Republic of Ireland. So what's wrong with that then? Well, let's try and clear a bit of this smoke and mirrors. Of course, while a lot of that does sound quite good, there's a massive sting in the tail because 3% apparently of EU law still applies, which, yes, admittedly might not be a lot. However, what they're obviously not shouting from the rooftops is the European Court of Justice is going to still be the final arbiter of EU law, which kind of means that if they don't like something, then they're going to have the final say on it rather than us. And for another country or governing body or whatever to insist that part of the UK has to follow their laws under presumably the threat of imposing a hard border as the only alternative is just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, sure, there's other ways, like trusted trader schemes and all that they could do instead of a hard border. Let's just put this into a bit of context, shall we? Let's say, for example, that we said to America, I'll tell you what, let's not worry about any custom checks or anything like that at all, but in return, we want to give you a few laws to abide by, and if you don't, then I'll tell you what, we'll take it to our court and then fine you for it, possibly. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but personally, I don't think that's what Brexit's about. I voted Brexit for sovereignty, and for another country to try and impose their laws on us, technically, that's not sovereignty in my opinion, even though it's only 3%, and just comes across to me as the EU trying to keep the foot in the door, because now Rishi in his infinite wisdom has got rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol. I guess that makes it much harder to us to scrap things altogether, because it's taken the threat off the table, isn't it? So it's no wonder why Ursula von der Leyen was smiling like a Cheshire cat for the majority of the day, it seemed. And also, Keir Starmer and Biden just seemed happy to back it, didn't they? I don't know why Biden's getting involved anyway. He's got nothing to do with the whole situation, is he? I mean, I know he says he's Irish, but he's still the President of the United States and should keep his nose out, in my opinion. Also, speaking of which, for them to brand it the Windsor Agreement or Windsor Arrangement or whatever they want to call it, it's just disgraceful, isn't it? Because it brings the monarchy into politics, which she really shouldn't be. It just screams of desperation, in my opinion, because no doubt, of course, people will think, oh, we must agree to it if it's called the Windsor Arrangement, and some may actually be happy about that and may actually vote it through regardless. Personally, though, in my opinion, yes, I know Rishi or Wishy-Washy or whatever you want to call him, says he is a Brexiteer, but I don't really think he is. I think he's more than likely a Ramona in disguise, especially if he's perfectly happy for the European Court of Justice to have any say on anything at all. Maybe, who knows, if the whole country or the whole of Parliament actually stood by the result in 2016 and didn't try to turn their back on democracy, then I guess we could have got a much better deal. Just makes me wonder how their negotiation was carried out. Maybe something like this. Oh, I've got an idea, Queen Ursula. I'll cut off food taxes and get rid of the forms, and then in about 18 months Labour might be, and I'll try to do my best with that, who will then rejoin the EU by the back door, especially if you've now kept your foot in it with your 3% of laws, which will no doubt somehow try to expand in future. Personally, of course, I hope it wasn't like that, but then again, Boris has given a warning. Boris Johnson has privately urged the DUP to be cautious about backing Rishi Sunak's Brexit deal, according to reports. The former PM is said to have spoken to Sir Geoffrey Donaldson's party this afternoon. Mr Johnson reportedly warned the DUP to think carefully before declaring its support for the agreement. And that comes as Mr Sunak and the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen stuck to the Windsor framework to replace the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was agreed under Mr Johnson. So to be honest, it just does make me wonder if this whole new Brexit agreement may end up being nothing more than a sneaky backdoor into rejoining the EU later on, which obviously no real Brexiteer, including myself, really wants at all. And in this video, I'll tell you about something that surely no driver would want at all. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll have a choice. Anyway, subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.